Welcome to our Business Binge mini series. This is a 5-video series intended to help you really move the needle in your business. Before we get started though, I want to introduce us if you haven't hung out with us yet. My name is Tessa. I'm a marketing strategist, and this is Kai. She's a business coach, and we're going to dive in with setting your GPS.
Okay, so what is setting your GPS? And before you even think about turning it, I'm going to tell you right now, yes, you can click on all of the videos, but no, we don't recommend it. Why? Because we've built each video on top of the other. So just like you have to set the foundation first of any, house that you build, it's the same thing with your business. So we definitely recommend that you go from beginning to end. And as we said, these are supposed to be binge-worthy videos, meaning they're very small and consumable. So we promise we won't drag on, okay? But with that said, it also means that we're going to be going through this really quickly. And, our whole goal and purpose here is to bring value to you and to your business, to help you where we needed help in the beginning, and to really give you advice from a perspective of, we've done strategies, sat with big companies and small, and we've seen the same things over and over again. And it's going to shock you some of the things that even those biggest companies that you might think they'd have it all together don't have, and why they struggle. So let's get started. So as far as setting your GPS, this is so important. And I think when we think of setting your GPS, a lot of, we're going to talk about goals. Yes, we are. But, a lot of people automatically think, okay, what's that number? And any business you talk to, it's always about revenue, profit, that type of stuff. And yes, that's important. But when we talk about GPS, it is not just the revenue and profit, right? Yes, that helps us. And, if we had a longer session, we could really get into how to break that down. But that does help us to understand what those numbers look like to create KPIs in our business. But that's actually not what we're doing today. So when we're talking about setting our GPS in the business, we are defining our goals. Okay. And the clearer your goals are, your end goal is, the easier it is to create a strategy. So, sometimes you do strategies from other people and it's not working, and it might be because you don't actually know what your true end goal is. Or sometimes people follow that strategy and they're winning it, and you'll see this often is people are unhappy. Like, man, I've made it and I'm so dissatisfied with my life. And it's because they haven't actually set the kind of goals that they need to set. So what are those goals? Well, the first is location, right? Not location of your physical being, but like, where do you actually want to end up in your business, in your life? And what does that really look like? Okay, so I always give this example. I used to, when I first started my business, I had this vision board and I wanted to have a farm and I wanted to have 50 acres of land. And I actually still want those things. But it's funny because when I started to get into it and really think about, okay, well, why do I want the farm? Why is that my idea of success? And for me, it's simply, I want my children to be able to run around outside. I want to be able to have that time with them. So that really helped me put into perspective, okay, that means that I'm not going to build a business where I'm using all of my time and I don't get to hang out with my kids, because that's what's important there, was being able to have that time with them, being able to go outside and play.
And not just mean have a cow that you have to go tend to necessarily.
Yeah, right. And that was the other thing, right? It's like, okay, so do you want a cow? No, I don't want a cow actually. So, I do, but I want somebody else to take care of it, right? So it really puts things into perspective of what you want and what you're going for. So really for me, success isn't necessarily a farm. It is being able to hang out with my kids, being able to walk out into our back porch and just cruise and hang out and see nature. That's it. It's not that $1 billion farm that I got to go buy, or the cow I got to go milk at, 4:00 in the morning. It's none of those things. It's the time with my kids.
But so you had to boil down, and it really took diving in. So this begin with the end in mind. What does that life look like at this point, which is in your life right now? This is your goal right now, because you're going to start breaking that down. And then we're also going to look at the money side too. So this is your goal. And then we're going to dive into the profit, or where you want to be for your income as well.
Yeah. So let's look at this. We can you introduce this? Because you love this so
minimum
much.
bank account balance. Yes, I do, because there is a number, and I've seen it I know when I look at my bank account, if I get that pit in my stomach, or if I'm happy and I feel like, hey, I'm doing good, it's your minimum number you need to see in your bank account to be not in a stressed, unhappy place, in a panic mode, right? So what's that number to you? And put that down, write it down, because it's going to come in handy in our,
and this is after expenses.
After expenses, like you in your own personal bank account, what do you need to see? And I am a business person first. In my world, I see my business bank account, and then I know what my personal bank account needs to be too. So I have two numbers personally.
Yeah. So think about that. So what does life look like truly, and boil it down to what does that really look like? What are the experiences you're trying to create? Because that will help you create a business that makes sense, rather than being like, okay, I have to have $1 million in my bank account and I have to have this farm, where then fast forward 10 years and that happens, I'm milking a cow at 4 a.m. I'm, not having any time to hang out with my kids because, my business is just going crazy. Like, what am I really trying to get out of my life? So think of that. And then think of, what is your minimum bank account balance? What is the number you want to see in your account after expenses, that you're in a state of peace? Like, I can make decisions for my business from a state of clarity and not desperation, from abundance and not scarcity, right? These are the things that you really have to think about. Okay. Perfect. So with that said, we're not going to go through it right now, but we do have a little profit calculator that you guys can play with, and it's not going to give you your minimum bank account balance, but it can really help you guys figure out, like, right now, okay, if I'm working this many hours and I want to keep selling this product, how many hours does that mean I'm going to be working in the future? It's a real eye opener and just fun to play. So really, when you look below the video, you should see a little link and you can just go and play with it there. And then, but the move to make, right? The move to make for today, just after this video, is to think of those things. That's it. Like, write them down too. Yeah. Write it down. Yes. Write it down. And write it down. Our next episode we're talking about the F word. So see you there.